I'm Cassius Rayner and welcome back to the fourth video in this new series, all about aspects of mobile filmmaking and using Filmic Pro. It is so hot. Not the video, it's just really hot here in London at the moment. It's too much. Anyway, let's dive straight in. So a couple of things in this video I'd like to look at, which is using the external lenses, and in particular the lenses that I used in the shoot of Deadeye. I also want to explore a little bit more and talk about using slow motion aspects with Filmic Pro, and also how to balance that up depending on the methods that you use to shoot with. So as we all know, slow motion can look fantastic, and if it's shot well and if the movement's right and you've got the right action going on in front of the camera, you can get some fantastic shots from it and it can look really cinematic. Now obviously specifically on Deadeye I was shooting in 10-bit on the iPhone 12 Pro Max, but I had to drop the resolution level down to 1080p. Now that does give you a bit of a challenge in post-production, because you're trying to match those shots together. You want the same quality, but of course you've had to drop it down to 1080p. But it is possible, and I was really pleased with the outcome. I chose 60 frames per second because that was the pace and the speed that I wanted to work at. When I say speed, I mean in slow motion, but when I'm timing it in real life, in the distance of moving towards the character in the tracking shots, that worked out to be the right pace and the speed that I wanted for the effect that I wanted, and to drive the audience to that last moment of tension. Now it did come up, the one thing you've got to check is your white balance. You've got to be really careful with your white balance. Because you're having to drop your resolution level down to 1080, that obviously can make a difference in the outcome of the amount of quality or the amount of information that's being maintained in the image for post-production. But to help you with that, keep a note of the white balance. So whatever it was when you last shot, if it was an exterior scene and it's at 24 frames per second, write a reference down or make a note of what your white balance temperature number was, your Kelvin. Okay, and then obviously when you go to shoot in slow motion, you've got to change your settings. You have to drop the resolution to 1080, but try to make sure that you can match your white balance number, your Kelvin number, as close as possible. It does help in the post-production, and at the end of the day, I was really happy with the end result. So I guess my key point is when you're shooting with slow motion, it's really important, particularly as many of us are still shooting with 8-bit phones, that you maintain that lighting, particularly on interior scenes. It's really important that you stick to those principles of lighting, 3-point lighting. If you can get that light in on your subject or the object that you're filming, you're going to always be much happier with the end result, okay? Because we're talking about the f-stop, the aperture of the lens on the particular phone that you have. There's only so much Filmic Pro's app can do, and it's down to you to add the extra lighting there to then get the quality. If you put that lighting in there, the outcomes that you can get from Filmic Pro are absolutely superb. But what it can't do is Filmic Pro can't fix your noise issues. So like I've said in previous videos, always keep your ISO as low as possible. When you're working in slow motion, you're upping your shutter speed, to 60 frames a second, to 120 frames a second. So it's really important that you pump a lot more light in there. If you don't, it's going to struggle. You're going to get a lot more noise issues. And apps, can't solve that problem for you. It's how you tackle that issue, or how you creatively tackle that issue at the point that you're filming it. So you need to think it through and plan it before you start filming. So let's talk about lenses. So particularly on Deadeye, when I was filming Deadeye, and I know I keep going on and on about Deadeye, but you know, for me, it's a great example of a bigger shoot that I did, and you know, testing and using different gear and obviously new equipment and an iPhone 12 Pro Max with Filmic Pro 10-bit. It was all a great new experience and a great new challenge. So there was a lot learnt from the experience. And there were two specific lenses that I've always used before on my other phones, on my iPhone 11 and even on my iPhone 8 Plus. Is a Moment lens, which is a 2x telephoto lens, and also the Beast Grip 3x telephoto lens. Now there are a couple of reasons why I use those lenses. Firstly, I want to get closer to my subject, but I don't physically want to use the wide angle lens on its own, because as I've mentioned in other videos, the closer you get to the subject with a wide angle lens, the more distortion you will get in your image, and it will start to look a little fish-eyed and morphed, and it just doesn't give you that nice cinematic frame that you're looking for. So I would always recommend, if you can, to use the telephoto lens. But here's the issue with the telephoto lens on specifically iPhones. The f-stop number is not as low as it is on the wide angle. So there's more light going into the wide angle, and by far the wide angle lens on the iPhone is the best build and has the best f-stop on it. The telephoto lens will drop down, I think it's around f2.4, 2.8 in that area. So what does that do? Actually, it generates more noise in your image because you have to throw more light at it. I want to avoid those situations where I'm filming a scene with two actors in a room and I want to punch in and get some closer shots. I don't want to have to keep rearranging the lighting setups because I've lost light in the lens because I'm using the telephoto lens. So that's one reason why I would use an external telephoto lens attached to the wide angle lens. You get better quality, you're dealing with a better f-stop. Yes, you've got a little bit more glass that you're going through, but the result is still much better than it would be using the built-in telephoto lens. So that about wraps it up for this video, but whoa, hang on, before you go off and change the channel or go and watch a different video or go out for a drink with your friends, I just got a quick message to express to yourselves. And that is mental health well-being, and it's something that I feel very passionate about. And I can be open enough to say that particularly in the last year and a half, specifically with the COVID-19 crisis that we've all been having to deal with on different levels, I've had many dark moments where I've struggled to function. I've been too stressed to deal with certain things, and I've had to deal with that and find my own way through it. But it's at times like that that I do think of others, and I think of other filmmakers, because if I'm going through it or have gone through it, then others will be going through that as well. We've all suffered to some degree due to the COVID-19 crisis, whether on a personal level or due to employment, savings, whatever it might be, we've all been affected. So I think at this point it's really important that you reach out and call someone. Get some help if you're not feeling great. If you're in a dark place, then please, you need to talk about it. Reach out, okay? Whether it's to a friend or to a family member, and just say it. Just say, I don't feel good. I just need to talk about it. Or find a local charity. Many wonderful support charities are available around the world in different countries to help with mental health and well-being. So do get in touch. Okay, sorry that was a bit on a heavy note, but I think it's important to reach out. I want to be personal to you because I care. You know, I'm a human being. We've all had ups and downs. We all suffer from different things at different times. So I think it's important to talk about it and to be open about it. I'm of an age that I'm not too concerned about people's opinions of me. It might be different for someone who's much younger, but at the end of the day, it's good to talk and it's good to share your feelings with others, okay? Cool. All right, so Filmic Pro, check it out on Google Play or on the App Store if you haven't done so far. You know what's coming. I can't wait to see you in the next video. Thanks for tuning in. See you soon.